YouTube as well. So we'll fire up YouTube and you guys should be going. So thank you everyone for joining me here yet again. I'm your host, Ben Sullins, and this is Teslanomics Live, the show where I take a look at the biggest Tesla-related news from the previous week. And there was a lot last week, so I'm going to cover basically two things, then get into some speculation, and then answer some questions. If you're watching on YouTube and you're watching this after the live event is over, you can check the comments down below, and soon after the video goes live, I'll put timestamps of all the different stories. You can jump right to whichever one you want. And if you are wondering how to be a part of the Q&A, you need to get on our email list at teslanomics.co, and I will send you an invite each week so you can join the discussion on Crowdcast. So without that, I say we just jump right into it. I'm going to really dig in first to the Semi. And so let me make sure that I'm sharing my screen on Crowdcast because I've done this. I've forgotten to do this before, and that was no fun for anybody. Okay, so Crowdcast, you should be getting my screen now. Yep, there you are. And first we're going to talk through the Tesla Semi. Okay, so the first thing about the Semi is the performance. So it gets, without a trailer, it goes 0 to 60 in 5 seconds. That's about my Model S, honestly. So that's kind of crazy and embarrassing. For a regular truck, it takes about 15 seconds, a regular diesel truck. I don't think that stat really means anything other than to show that it's fast. The bigger one is the 0 to 60 in 20 seconds with an 80,000-pound trailer, compared to around 1 minute for a normal truck. Now, I kind of question how important 0 to 60 times are. I guess it just means that it's far more powerful, and therefore maybe is more energy efficient in the long run. Hard to say. The other piece about the performance is that it will climb a 5% grade at a steady 65 miles per hour, whereas a diesel truck maxes out at 45 miles per hour on a 5% grade. There is no shifting no shifting or clutching for smooth acceleration and deceleration. And this is a big thing. The regenerative braking, it actually recovers 98% of the kinetic energy to the battery, giving it basically infinite battery life, or infinite brake life. And so this is something that Elon said there that I thought was kind of crazy. I wonder if I can make this full screen for you. I don't know, guys, if you've seen this video, kind of full bore here, but it's pretty amazing. So the thing is beautiful. It's incredibly powerful. All the stuff we knew Tesla would deliver on. A big thing that I was surprised by was the Megachargers. And you know, I guess surprised isn't the right word. So if you saw any of the videos, me and some of the other Tesla tubers met up beforehand, and we were looking at, or we were speculating essentially on what big surprises were in store. I was really confident or really strong that there would be a new type of supercharger. I was calling it Supercharger V3 to accompany the Semi, and I was right. They're calling it Megacharger. That's cool. According to Tesla, I'll just read from their press statement. It's a new high-speed DC charging solution, will add about 400 miles of range in 30 minutes and can be installed at origin or destination points and along heavily trafficked routes, enabling recharging during loading, unloading, and driver breaks. So Elon had a good point here. 400 miles was something like 8 hours of driving in one of these trucks. And so law in the US requires that you actually take breaks. You take a 30-minute break. So they've kind of perfectly designed the brakes of the driver with the just charging time. So the idea would be you take off from point A, you go and you stop 400 miles into your journey, you plug it in, and then you go, use the bathroom, eat something, maybe relax for a minute, watch some Teslanomics YouTube videos. I don't know, whatever you guys like to do with your free time. And then you come back and it's ready to go. So you've got a 30-minute break in, in, and you spent 0 additional time charging. Now, one fascinating point about this, and I'll see if they have it on this page here, is that the let me see if they have the thing. Oh, I don't see it. Yeah, one of the things they showed at the event was that the Megachargers would offer 7 cents per kilowatt hour charging rates. And so the average in the US, last time I looked, was 12 cents. Here in Southern California, we pay upwards of 18 to 20 plus cents because, I don't know, things are more expensive. And with that, by them guaranteeing that, the economics of this make a ton of sense. And so one of the crazy ways that they're doing that was, and I don't know if people picked up on this, they all have solar at their stops that charges power packs, the Tesla power packs, which feed the Megachargers. So they actually control 100% of that loop. So it doesn't matter what the grid wants. They don't even have to be connected to the grid. Maybe they will be for backups or for certain times when it makes economic sense. But in general, they can build these to do it themselves, and they know how. I mean, this isn't something that's completely unheard of. So in terms of safety, Tesla says that the reinforced battery shields a semi from impact and gives it an exceptionally low center of gravity. And its windshield is made of impact-resistant glass. And with this, we actually have a video here. So here's your standard glass. I think they said it's thermonuclear explosion-proof or something. I don't know what's going on there, but yeah. So apparently, if in a nuclear explosion, this would be the safest place or something. So there you go. You kind of have the safety aspect, and apparently the windshield is a big deal because the windshields on semis are so large that they often get cracked. I recall Elon stating it was about once a year, and so that adds a lot to maintenance costs for especially a company with thousands of trucks in their fleet. Now, in terms of reliability, the Tesla Semi has far fewer parts than a regular diesel truck. So there's no engine, no transmission, and there's no after-treatment system or differentials that have upkeep. The Tesla Semi requires significantly less maintenance. Its battery is similar in composition to the batteries of Tesla energy products and is designed to support repeated charging cycles for over 1 million miles. While its motors are derived from the motors used in the Model 3 and have been validated to last more than 1 million miles under the most demanding conditions. And if I recall correctly, they even guaranteed that it would not break down for up to 1 million miles. And so these trucks have multiple engines in them. And with the multiple engines, they said you only need 2 to basically keep running. But I believe there are 4 or 6. I forget. I'll have to check that detail. So with that, I mean, they're providing a huge economic reasoning for buying one of these. And there's some news out there. Walmart has already purchased 15 of them. So in terms of cost of ownership, and I'm reading from Tesla's press release, the biggest immediate cost advantage comes from the savings in energy costs. Fully loaded, the Tesla Semi consumes less than 2 kilowatt hours of energy per mile and is capable of 500 miles of range at GVW, which is the gross vehicle weight, and highway speed. Accommodating a wide range of shipping applications, given that nearly 80% of freight in the U.S. is moved less than 250 miles. Now, I will point out that I'm not sure if that stat is exactly accurate with kind of what the perception is when you say that, because if I understand correctly, that last mile, that getting from the Amazon or UPS warehouse to your home for your new iPhone, that isn't handled by a Class 8 ginormous truck, right? That is a smaller truck. So yes, while maybe 80% of the freight is moved in those shorter routes, I'm not sure if that stat ties to that last mile, which may make up a significant percentage of it. So coupled with the low and stable nature of electricity prices, which average 12 cents in the U.S. and can be significantly less for commercial and industrial users, falling to almost nothing when combined with local solar generation storage, owners can expect to gain $200,000 or more in savings over 1 million miles based on fuel costs alone. So with diesel, and I think they averaged it at $2.50 per gallon here in the U.S., and that potentially going up, that's where they're getting that estimate from. Now, as you've seen me report in the past, these estimates are sometimes a bit presumptive, and they're maybe a bit overestimating. But still, even if you want to be conservative and say, let's discount that by half, or let's say our grain of salt that we take their numbers for is worth 50% off, that's still $100,000 cheaper. So that's a pretty amazing stat there. And I didn't talk about it, but they also have this notion of what they call a convoy, where one person drives the front truck, and then the following trucks in the convoy are driverless. So in this model, the economics just, skyrocket. And I don't believe this is currently legal. And if you ask me, true fully autonomous vehicles, level 5 autonomy, is still a long ways away in my book. And I've heard there are a lot of other people that are smarter than me that agree with that. This type of autonomy, I think, could be very soon. So imagine a ship comes into Long Beach and you unload it, you throw it on these trucks, and then these trucks go out to, say, Barstow, California or something like that. And then from there they get, put on smaller trucks that are delivered to Los Angeles and whatever other place. Now, that route will be known, and you can have the single driver drive it 10,000 times, training their algorithm on how to actually drive the route safely and effectively. Then you can put it behind another one, in which case they're just following this guy, and they may get stuck behind traffic or whatever else. But in the end, because you have a person there, that may make it even totally feasible very, very soon. I would not be surprised if today that was technically possible, but maybe the regulations aren't there yet. So within 5 years, I would say this is totally doable. Now, they're going to start making these in 2019. The big question I still have, I haven't seen how or where they're going to make them. The Fremont factory is not a good option. As Elon stated, it's bursting at the seams. By the way, they have a gazillion Model 3s that they need to make. That's an actual number. And so, yeah, there's a lot of questions still. But this alone, I was completely blown away by at the event. Man, it looks awesome. They also announced, or sort of announced, a pickup truck, but I don't know if I'd really call it a pickup truck. It looked more like a Class 5 heavy-duty or light-duty truck, something that might be used more in construction projects for smaller loads or something like that, but not something that really fits in with what me and you might buy as a pickup truck. So, okay, that's the semi stuff. Now let's talk about everybody's, this was the mind-blowing into the other dimension that Elon had promised us. I don't even know where to go with this. Let's talk about some stats here, okay? 0 to 60 in 1.9 seconds. That's the base model. That's not the Founder Series model, which I'm getting. 250 plus miles per hour top speed. What is that? I don't know, close to 500 kilometers per hour. Something crazy, right? 620 mile range with a 200 kilowatt hour battery pack. What is 620 miles in kilometers? What, close to like 1,200 kilometers or something like that? So this is the quickest production car in the world. Period. I do not believe an ICE vehicle, an internal combustion engine car, will ever beat this car. Ever. And I say that because right now, the fastest, quickest, most high-end supercar on the planet doesn't even come close. And now, if you want to talk, if you want to throw in the Porsche 918 Spyder, which does have an electric motor, or you want to put in the LaFerrari, which does have an electric motor, yeah, you might be able to make it competitive. Still no. So this was, as Elon said, throwing the smackdown on the argument that their electric cars are inefficient or somehow inferior in any way, shape, or form. Game over. Like, this is the end of the internal combustion engine vehicle. We saw it unveiled. I saw it unveiled live in person. You guys saw it online. That's it. It's game over. Tesla won. It's now everybody is going to try to catch up to Tesla. And electric vehicles, this was really the shot across the bow, if not the nail in the coffin. Let's look at the specs, right? And actually, let me just do the video in full screen. Yes, no, there are not mirrors on this. It has cameras, and inside there are displays for them. I didn't see them going when I was in there. I was too close to going number 2 in my pants, trying to hang on to the damn thing. So yeah, but no, it does not have mirrors. It's really a 2-seater. They call it a 4-seater. My son could maybe sit in the back. He would need a car seat, so that probably wouldn't fit either. Now, some of the more amazing, crazy stats are that it's 0 to 60 1.9. I didn't think that was possible. I believed, watching the Engineering Explained videos about this, there are several videos explaining basically how no car could break the 2-second barrier. That I didn't think this was possible. I did not think it was physically possible. And I said it before. If I was going to put my money on anybody, though, to break the laws of physics, it's Elon Musk. Guaranteed. Guaranteed there's no one else out there doing things that with the genius team and his own smarts in their first principle thinking. Nobody has a shot. Next, 0 to 100 miles in 4.2 seconds. Mind-blowing. Quarter mile time, 8.8. That's in the 8s. That's a quarter. See, Tesla is like the P100D Model S. It would lose in all these other categories because it limited itself at 155 miles per hour. Arguably, if you could take off that governor and pump it up to, as fast as it could possibly go, yes, it would probably still beat all these other ones. Here, forget it. The only thing that's going to beat this car in a race is something that is basically just a dedicated race car or like a drag strip car. Like one of these cars that are not actual real cars. They're not made for driving around. Now, granted, this is a completely impractical car. This is a supercar, which, by the way, at $250,000 is a steal. So the next closest car, if you call it the Porsche 918 Spyder, I believe retails for around $850,000 or $840,000. So yeah, $600,000 more than the cost of my home, more than this car, just to be slower. So yeah, $250,000 for this is an absolute bargain. I can't stress that enough. It's absolutely insane. All the other stats here, pretty incredible. My friend Brooks over at Drag Times, we've talked about, I think he probably ordered one. I haven't talked to him since the event, but I did promise to bring my Roadster out to Florida and race with him. We'll probably do, it's still a few years out. They're going to start production in 2020. But I think this is going to be a blast driving this thing. Stay tuned for more. Granted, it's a ways down the road, but holy crap, this is going to be incredible. The minute I can order mine, the minute I take delivery, my first ride, I'm probably going to go to, there's this race car driving school out in Phoenix that's really famous, just so I have a sense of what it's like to even drive a car. I'm really worried that I'll take a ride in this thing and just run it into the wall, which would be horrible. I'm of course going to do a cost breakdown on this. And I have to get some numbers here. I did already ask my insurance agent what this will cost me. I'm really not looking forward to her email back. But yeah, holy cow. This blew everybody's mind. And if you didn't see Franz come out of the back of the truck with that was, I mean, that was was a very special moment. And honestly, I can't express my gratitude enough for the support you guys have given me by helping me grow this channel, by using my referral code to buy your Tesla and join this electric movement we're doing, because that is what enabled me. And I am putting on a vlog from the event last Thursday. It'll be coming out soon. I apologize. I'm not a great vlogger. I am working on that. Trust me, I have $3,000 of camera equipment that is on its way. I do have some new friends in the YouTube space that I made recently that are just exceptionally good at these things. So stay tuned, because I know that kind of content you guys love, but I've historically not been good at it. I'm much more in studio, data and analytics and stuff. So I'm going to be doing all that stuff. But just hang tight with me as we kind of grow this. So yes, I did get to ride in it. I'm wearing my bracelet. I will take it off at some point, but this silver bracelet is what got me a ride in it. And now one of the crazy things is that, in case you guys didn't know this, maybe there were a couple other people, but as far as I know, as far as anybody that filmed it for YouTube, me and there were a few other people that got to go on the rides, they had to put a deposit down on this car in order to do that. Basically, the test rides in this were not for everybody. They were only for people that had a deposit down. And because I have 100% discount on it, they hooked it up and gave me one. So thank you again for that. And if you saw anybody else that posted a video on YouTube about it, they put a deposit down. Now, the deposit at the event was $5,000, and then you had something like 10 days, I think, to come up with the additional $45,000. Otherwise, the $5,000 was non-refundable. I've heard mixed things on this. It seems like the sales team wasn't totally informed about the referral program and how that works. So there may be some other things happening. Pay attention to some of the other YouTubers' channels about this that went to the event. For me, I mean, I'm in the black here. It's 100% free, 102% actually. One thing I'm really kind of curious about is what kind of taxes and things and fees I'll have to pay for this. Then I'll have to figure out where to put it. I do have a friend that is that trades, buys and sells Porsches for a living, and so he has tons of like really old classic Porsches, not like just a brand new whatever, but something that's like a James Bond type car from the 60s that's totally decked out. And so he has a ton of garage space. I'm hoping he'll let me park it in there, because I just feel nervous putting this in my house. Plus, if I have this at my house, then outside you're going to have a Model S and 2 Model 3s and my old truck. So that's kind of ridiculous. Like, I don't know if the city, like I did get a ticket, like no joke. I got a ticket recently for having my truck parked out front of my house, which drives me nuts that I'm fighting it. But anyways, okay, sorry. Long story short, I am just overjoyed about the event. It was incredible. One thing that was weird to me was basically how, and I'm going to show you some more photos here if we can kind of just run through these. One of the things that was crazy to me also was, why can't I see this? So we had the event, we had the party, and then where Elon spoke, and this was him unveiling it, and then next to that was the hangar where the party was, and in the hangar you had this I don't want to call it space gray, but this kind of like midnight silver metallic is probably the color it was, Roadster 2, this version of the Roadster, and so. Everyone was just gushing over that. This semi was like, yeah, go whatever. Yeah. And there was no line. Nobody cared. A few people were over there. And then there was a Model 3 sitting there as well. Now, the Model 3 wasn't behind any barriers or glass. You could go up to it, touch it, get as close as you want, take as many pictures. Nobody cared. Maybe a couple people went by. Most of us were like, why is this car in my way? I'm trying to go get, go get a drink or something. So that blew my mind because, I mean, the Model 3 is amazing, but this was just like, I feel like maybe with the Model 3, you know, in the new types of consumers, probably a lot of you guys, you know, this would be your first Tesla. I feel like maybe the ultra luxury crowd that maybe helped start, remember, because Tesla's first car, the original Roadster, was in this category as well. Wasn't really that competitive, but now, I mean, obviously. So maybe those folks, you know, that invested super early on were feeling a little bit like it was on the decline, right? Like, yeah, the Model 3 is cool, but it's not a supercar. It's a, you know what I mean? Like it's not ultra luxury. It's not whatever. So maybe they felt the brand was a little bit diminished. This, I mean, this just shut everybody up. I bet Elon and Franz and team are feeling pretty damn good about themselves. There's Franz now driving it. So, and yeah, absolutely, like, huge congrats to those guys for doing such an amazing job. I can't gush over this enough. It is that insane of an the event was that insane of an experience, and this car and what they've just done here is incredible. Now, one of the stats that you may see here that is pretty wild is this 620-mile range. And you know, might be wondering, how the hell do you do that? Well, so this car has a 200 kilowatt hour battery pack that's obviously using the 2170 battery cells. There may be other battery innovations in there that made that possible. Now, I didn't see a trunk space. The back of it does open up, but it's kind of just like if you were opening the hatchback on the Model S and you have that kind of a layer on top, that little false cargo hold, and you put stuff on there. That was about all it was, and in there was the glass roof. So you kind of just take that off, put the roof in there. I didn't see a trunk to speak of at all. So while yes, the car is like much smaller, I don't even want to say it's much smaller than the Model S because it's a pretty wide, like, you know, big Batmobile looking car. You know, they probably stacked the batteries all along the bottom, then all the way up the back. So the thing is, they may have had enough space, is what I'm saying. Now, the question is, if there was some major advancement or innovation in how they're able to fit batteries into a smaller vehicle, a smaller profile, then we may see 120, 140, maybe a 200 kilowatt hour pack for a Model S, a Model X. I don't think a Model 3 will get that upgrade, but maybe it will. And if so, that would make a whole lot of sense, because then there would be a clear distinction about why you would pay, you know, $20,000, $30,000 more for an S or an X versus the 3. Right now, they're so similar in kind of the features and everything you get for your money. I don't really think that, you know, I think it's kind of a problem for them, right? The Model 3 has better battery technology than the S and the X, the premium versions, you know, the premium models. So I would not be shocked if in 2018 we hear about some new announcement that pushes that up, and then they get, you know, even more more stuff going, more range and everything else for the S and the X in the future year. Again, the argument is over. Internal combustion engine cars cannot keep up with electric vehicles, even the supercar variety. But very, very soon, if I can get a Model S with 600 miles of range, the range anxiety is gone. It is, you know, it is better and is similar to the higher end ones of a gas car, right? I could drive, I go to Phoenix, where I'm from, once a year, usually for the holidays. I could drive all the way to Phoenix, which is about 400 miles, and about halfway back on a single charge. On a regular gas car, I could maybe get there running on fumes, having to stop at the edge of town to fill up. So unless the gas cars are going to start loading up their cars with 40-gallon, 50-gallon tanks, not going to happen. So I really think Tesla's won. Now, the question will be if they follow the same fate as the iPhone did. So I don't have my phone over here, but maybe I do. Nope. Oh, there it is. So, okay, the iPhone, and this is a comparison. I've drawn the comparison. Everyone else has. People get so pissed. I don't care. I think it's valid. The iPhone really the innovation had nothing to do with the phone itself. It was all about the design. I remember watching the iPhone unveiling streaming while on a bus from my HTC Dash. Yeah, it was years before the iPhone actually had the ability to tether your laptop to it. So the technology wasn't really that. It was the design, no keyboard, right? Steve Ballmer famously, well, I don't think business users are going to want this because there's no keyboard. He was very wrong. The thing is now, and let me find my backpack. Now, every phone looks just like an iPhone. Which one of these came first? Right? One of these is a Google device and one of them. So the thing is that in the world today, Android makes up 85% of the smartphone market. Even in the US, I believe it's like 57 to 60% of the US market. Now, the thing is because this phone, the new version, is $1,000 US. In some countries, maybe some of you watching where you live, that is half a year's salary. Maybe that's the cost of a house. I mean, it's absurd how expensive these are. Now, for us in one of the wealthiest, if not the wealthiest country in the world, it seems reasonable, right? So while a lot of people, especially those in the US that have never left the US, think iPhone like dominates the whole world and that's it, really, when you look at the numbers, it's not the case. However, they did change everything because now every other smartphone maker at the time, the Razer folks who just came out with a really cool phone, the Android G1 that came out, which had this flip out thing with a keyboard, all the Nokia phones, all those things switched over. Like the design that they came out with won. You cannot argue that. Now, the Tesla is doing the same thing. So whether or not Tesla owns the market going into the future really isn't the thing. The thing is that they have changed the game and every auto manufacturer is going to have to play catch up. That's all there is to it. So if they aren't paying that close attention and they're trying to dismiss this as a fad, they're going to end up like Steve Ballmer, eating their words years later, as everyone that does try to adopt what they're doing and deliver on this disruption that we're seeing, they're going to survive. Tesla may not be the biggest automaker in the world one day, but hey, if they have 15% of the overall market, they would be a ginormous company. Now getting into the semi-space and everything else, who knows? I mean, what's next, right? Why can't they make a bus or a small panel van or all kinds of other vehicles which fall right into this line? I mean, not to mention the Model Y or a smaller pickup truck. All of these things are coming out very, very soon. So thank you for joining me on this. I'm going to talk about one other thing quickly, and then I will get to the Q&A on Crowdcast. So I'm going to go to teslacon.online, and this is, if you're unfamiliar, you're new here, this is the event we're hosting. It's an online event for the Tesla and EV communities to come together. You hear directly from some of your favorite speakers. You get to participate in community-driven Q&A, which is kind of like a Reddit AMA, and discussion with everyone. Thank you to everybody. We're about 50% sold out already, and we're finalizing all the details and everything, so we've just ended our pre-launch phase. If you want to be notified when ticket sales go open up again, go get on the wait list at teslacon.online. You just enter your email there, and then as soon as we open up ticket sales, you'll be invited. But as of right now, tickets are closed. We are, as I said, almost 50% sold out. Also, if you are somebody that purchased a ticket there, stay tuned. This week, I'll be sending you out all the info, logins to things, discount codes, all those kind of things. Last week was pretty nuts. I'm still recovering, as you can tell from my voice. So yeah, I appreciate all of that. And without further ado, let's hop right into Q&A. Assuming Crowdcast is still working. I started late today, guys, and I apologize because I was having some serious issues with my computer. I upgraded to Mac OS High Sierra. which has been causing me all kinds of problems. So if you guys are in that, you know, maybe hold off on doing that. And I'm going to hide the chat here so it doesn't get too disruptive, and make this full screen and blow my nose. Welcome to a live broadcast. One of the things, by the way, that's really cool is that you can, and if you're on the email list at teslanomics.co, I'm going to start sending these out. So as I answer the questions, we catalog the answer in the video with the question itself. So when you go watch a replay, you can jump to the questions and see exactly which ones are answered. Just jump right to that answer. So let me start answering Pete's question here. And I'll take a drink as I read it. Yeah, I was just talking about this a little bit. So Pete asks, Elon has said that the Model 3 is too small to take the 100 kilowatt hour battery. The new Roadster is at least as small, if not smaller, yet it allegedly has a range of 620 miles. That suggests Elon is anticipating a major advance in lithium-ion batteries by the time the new Roadster is released. Do you agree? I don't think it's that complicated. I disagree that it is at least as small. So here's the thing. As I mentioned, unless somebody has another video, but I did not see an actual trunk. So imagine if you had a Model 3 that did not have a trunk at all, like zero trunk. You could fit a ton of batteries back there. Now, if you push the seats forward and make the seats tiny as well, you could fit more batteries. So it doesn't it doesn't add up to me that that it's smaller in terms of the, I guess, body cavity and where you could put batteries. I haven't seen those detailed specs yet. I don't know if they've released them. So let me just say that first. Do I think that there is a major advance in lithium-ion batteries? Possibly. Yes. There certainly is something they're doing that's special here, because even if they just removed all the space, I don't know if they could really, just using the existing tech, fill it up in that manner. I think that there's definitely some innovations there. Now, a good idea, and I guess for me, is if you're familiar with the Model S and I think the X, yeah, I assume the X has this. In the trunk, there is an underneath space. So like you open up the hatchback, then there's this like false bottom. You pull it open, and there's another pretty wide cavernous space. You know, right kind of where a gas tank typically would be. I wouldn't be shocked if they just fill that up with batteries, and then why not take away the front and put batteries in there if you can? I mean, just those two spaces alone, yeah, it takes away from the cargo space, but the trunk on a Model S is still really big. Same with the Model X, you still have a ton of room. So I think like if you just filled up those two spaces with batteries, you might be able to get, I don't know, 40, 60 kilowatt hours additional. So, you know, in the end, you probably wouldn't need any major advancements there, but you would get a ton more range, like a couple 100 miles more. So you're looking then at a Model S or a Model X with, you know, 500 plus miles of range, on par with a regular gas car. So I don't know if there's a major advancement. I don't know if the body cavity is that much smaller. It might even be bigger. More to come. Thank you for the question, and thank you for joining me here, Pete. Oh, Arvids asks, how does it feel to be the future of a $250,000 hypercar? I'm still in shock. I am still completely in shock. I can't even fathom. This is, so for the record, I'm not a car guy, right? Like I would never spend this kind of money on a car. Never. No way. It doesn't make any sense to me. You know, I'm actually more likely interested in the future where we don't even own cars. How does this feel? It feels unreal. I can, you know, and my personality, I am super extroverted, and I cannot wait to share this with all of you guys. Like I can't even say, so let me give you an example. When I bought my Model S, I didn't so I'm really good friends with our neighbors. And normally we talk about everything. We hang out all the time. I didn't tell anybody about buying it. Obviously, my wife and I talked about it, but I didn't tell any of my neighbors or any of my friends until I just showed up with it one day. And the first thing we did was hopped in and all went for a ride. We all got in and we're like, yeah, let's go. Because that's me and that's my personality, right? Like anytime I have a success or I get something that is a bit special, whether or not I just bought it or whatever, but my first like natural instinct is to share it with everyone I know. Obviously, I only was able to achieve this level because of you guys and your support. So stay tuned is all I can say. I don't even know how long I'll be able to afford it. I mean, what do you think the insurance on something like this is? Couple grand a month? I mean, it's not cheap. Even the fact that it's like zero cost to purchase it, taxes are going to be, in the $30,000 range or more, depending on how they classify it. I mean, this is like, there's still a long road ahead, but it feels incredible, and I can't even explain how thankful I am to you and everyone else that joins me here, because by watching these videos and sharing, this is how it happens, right? And by Tesla doing these amazing things and using people like myself and others to be their voice out in the community, because they don't do any of this stuff, and you helping spread that, we all are collectively making it happen, right? On my channel alone, we're close to 50,000 people that watch, that subscribe. Every month, we're close to 600,000 to 700,000 people or views that we get. So presumably, maybe 500,000 people. It's incredible. So the more, we do things like this, and the more we share and the more we talk about them online and with our friends, the more we accelerate the transition. This is really how it happens. And I am so thrilled to be a part of it and to be, one of the speakers in it that can share what I know with everyone else and really make it happen. So I'm overjoyed. Thanks for the question. It was maybe a bit of a softball one. Appreciate it. Jim asks, have you heard whether any Model 3 reservation holders other than Tesla employees or family have been able to place orders for their cars? Don't believe so. I think it's still just employees and family. Model3ownersclub.com is a forum where everyone talks about this stuff. If and when that happens, likely someone's going to post it there. I'm still waiting on mine. I'm expecting it, I don't know, maybe sometime soon, unless they delay it again. But again, that production ramp is pretty steep. So once they start going on that, it'll be here in no time, I guess. But no, I've not heard of that officially. Arvids asks again, did you manage to get an in-person look at the Semi? I know the Roadsters are more fun, but the Semis are going to have a big impact. And there is way less info on them. So actually, yeah, there is a ton of info. If you go to tesla.com/presskit, they have lots of details there. But I did go stand in one to look around, and that was right at the time I found out that I was getting a test ride in the Roadster, so I bailed on that. And then I spent about 40 minutes in line, and then after that, just kind of headed out. So I didn't take a ton of time. It looks amazing. I'm so much more interested in the economics of it. So yeah, we'll see, and definitely stay tuned because I'm going to be breaking that down. In fact, I had a video planned. I had already, recorded and kind of did a bunch of analysis, and then they totally threw us off with the Megachargers and the 500-mile range and the Class 8 GVW. I mean, it's just blah. So I actually have to go back to the drawing board and redo that video, but I already kind of have the skeleton of it. So stay tuned for that based on what we do know. I think there's enough details out there to really tell a compelling story. So yeah, thanks for the question. Les asks, any details on where the Semi and Roadster will be manufactured? No, that is my biggest question. The Semi itself, I am completely clueless on. But maybe, what makes sense is that they'll buy another facility and retrofit it. They could also, and apparently this happens, have another manufacturer make, let's say, the majority of it, and then they make the batteries and these different pieces or something like that. So I'm not quite sure. where they're going to build it. The Roadster, they could probably do it in Fremont because you're only going to build 1,000 of them or so. Or honestly, they could probably do it by hand. I doubt they would because it doesn't seem like how they operate. But the Roadster could be something you could fit in relatively easily in kind of in between some of the other ones. And at 250 grand or 200 grand a pop, it'd be worth it. So yeah, or maybe what they do is they get all the orders lined up. They figure what they want. They halt one line for a minute, make all the Roadsters, and then switch it back over to S and X or whatever. So I think the Roadster, there's a lot of different ways to do it. The Semi is a much more complicated thing. So yeah, thanks for the question. James asked the price of a dual motor on the Model 3. I'm going with the same price as the Model S. What is it, $5,000 more, I think? That's what people have told me. Some people have said, oh, it'll be cheaper because Elon tweeted about that, so $4,000. But a lot of the other features are the same price, so I wouldn't expect anything less. I am going to buy 2 Model 3s though. So the first one is coming very soon, or in the first batch, and then the next one I'm going to get will be the performance model with all-wheel drive and all that stuff. So not only am I going to walk you guys through all the cost breakdown, of course, and those kind of things, but I'm going to do a little vlog about ordering it, of course, the delivery, and then everything I can figure out about the car. A lot of other people have really explored the car. I don't really do car reviews. You guys know that. I try to do a couple of them. I'm really bad at them. But I will kind of answer some questions that I have, such as how does a surfboard fit? How does a kid's car seat fit? Those kind of things. So yeah, we'll take a look at that. But yeah, pricing, I would estimate it's almost the same, if not just a fraction less than the Model S. AJ asks, what kind of reactions from the trucking industry have you seen? I'm sure the bigger corporations see the Tesla Semi as a no-brainer, but in smaller companies, do you think it will take a little while for adoption? Yeah, so I've read a lot about this, and there's a great website. I think it's called truckinginfo.com, and they've been blogging about the potential for the Semi for a while now. I haven't checked if they've updated it, but most of the sentiment I've read online has been more about, look, because it's Tesla, people are likely to take a bit of a risk, but they're not going to say switch their entire fleet over to these immediately. And so I think that's what you'll see. Walmart has ordered 15 of them already. There was a whole section, a whole extra VIP section that was beyond the VIP that I got. And that was for people that had already ordered trucks. And there was a whole, a gaggle of people over there. So there was a lot of folks from a lot of different companies. So I don't know. It'd be a good question how many orders they already have. And that would be a really good question for Elon on Twitter, or, maybe on an earnings call or something like that. I'm guessing it's maybe several hundred, if not over 1,000 already. So that's a big win, and I think it'll be slow at first, and then some companies will be more aggressive with it as they start to see the returns on the economics of it. Then it will just be a game changer. I mean, it'll be slow at first, and then have that exponential ramp, is my guess. Thanks for the question, AJ. Jim asks, I've been told by a Tesla store employee that the Model 3 premium package will include free Wi-Fi. Woo! Can you confirm? I cannot. I do not know that for a fact, and I'm not sure what you mean by free Wi-Fi. The one thing to think about is how the Model S and X work, where I think it's 4 years. You have free. The car itself has a free internet connection, so it can download maps, it can stream stuff on its own, it can do all these things without having to connect to your phone, right? I love how everything's kind of built into the car. So I wouldn't be surprised if they offered, a year or two, or maybe even 4 of the free cellular connection that the car has. I don't know what free Wi-Fi would mean outside of that. And no, I can't confirm that because, I mean, as much, like one thing you guys, I've learned my lesson. Thank you for teaching me that. But one thing to think about is that a lot of people speculate on these things, and they come down to oh, well, this is the answer because of all these other factors. And then they're always wrong. I've never seen somebody get it exactly right. Oh, there was a leak of this. yeah, it wasn't exactly right. So just stay tuned about any, really like until they officially announce something, I would avoid speculative talk because it doesn't really help. Now, we can talk about things that maybe make sense as long as we always preface them that this is, a guess. Like I think, like for the example, the Megacharger, like me and a few other people were talking, we said, they have to do something, right? They like there has to be a new type of supercharger to support this truck. Otherwise, it would be like a disaster. Boom, there you go. It worked, right? Did any of us guess how big it would be, what it would do, all that? No, because that is where you're like, yeah, this is just pure guesswork. So, yeah, just stay, be cautious of those things. And obviously, whenever they do announce this stuff, I'll let you guys know. Thanks for the question, Jim. Robert asks, any idea what production volume of the Tesla of the semi Tesla want to achieve, or it will just custom orders only? I don't know. That's a great question. That's a good earnings call type question. I think it'll be small in the beginning, maybe a few hundred, maybe a couple thousand. Down the road, I could see them. And now, so if you take a look at the industry, I believe Class 8 vehicles sell somewhere. They're predicted, if I remember my research, they're predicted to be north of about 450,000 units sold every year by 2022. Again, I'll be putting out a video with more details, but if I remember the research, that's what I saw. And so if they want to capture, if they can capture 10% of that market, that's still a tremendous dollar add for them. And then over maybe like 7-8 years down the road, as more and more of these roll out, they can capture a significant percentage of that market. So yeah, let's say they capture 20% of 450,000. So what's that, 90,000 within 10 years or something like that? Yeah, I think it'd be pretty good. 90,000 trucks a year, each one. I don't know what are they, $500,000 or $300,000. That's actually an interesting thing that I'm gonna have to add to the analysis was what is the cost of a semi? I haven't seen that online yet, but I am going to try to figure that out. And there are some clues based on the size of the battery, which you can kind of deduce from some of the other points. So yeah, stay tuned. Lots of stuff to come in there. Thanks for the question, Robert. And I'm going to run through some of these kind of quickly because I know we're over time. Bromance32, do you have any idea on what they're planning with the mini semi? Yeah, they showed a photo of it. It looks to me like a work truck, not like something me and you would buy, because it looked ginormous. It looked huge. And in fact, I don't know if they were trying to say that the darker space gray looking one was that. But yeah, they showed a regular like F-150 in the back of it, which means it would be really big. I think it's still a work truck, but one that could be extremely useful in construction sites to have that much power. So yeah, we'll see. Tom asks, what will you do with your supercar when you'll get it in 2020? I don't think I'll get it in 2020. Will you only drive it occasionally on racetracks or use it as your, yeah. Well, so I don't really have an everyday car. Like I'm in my studio, which I built on the side of my house. So this is my commute is about 15 feet or so. Definitely will keep it in a garage at an undisclosed location with really strong security. Who knows? Maybe by then, hopefully, YouTube and everything else will be making enough money to support, keeping it for a long time. The basic idea is to do as many videos with it as I can, have fun with it, share it, take it to events, randomly show up at these little drag strip meetups and blow the doors off everything. I do want to go get certified or whatever I need to be as kind of a race car driver first, so I know what the hell I'm doing. And I would love to keep it. It is something that is a game changer. So I would hate to have to get rid of it, but I mean, imagine if I'm paying, I don't know, $5,000 a month insurance on that thing. Like, it's gonna, that's a tough call. So we'll see. If you're with me through this journey and you're gonna stick around and YouTube's still around by then, yeah, I'll definitely be sharing it. So yeah, thanks for the question. I'm thrilled. I'm excited. Arvids asks, any back room under the cover hints at a bigger battery for SX, maybe even 3. Rumors are rumors. Yeah, I think it makes sense. This is what I was just talking about. I don't know anything official, but it seems like there's probably logically they should be working on something, and so we should hopefully find something soon. Haven't heard any more details on that though, so I'll leave it as speculative. Thanks for the question. Les asks, do you think the manufacturing of the Model Y will be pushed back further because of the Semi-On Roadster? I think they're going to have to open a new plant, and I think the Model Y will be built there. Fremont's not an option unless they can expand. I know some people have said that they got new space, but that's going to take, 5-6 years to build out, something like that. So yeah, it'd make more sense to buy one that's either dead or failing, and then retrofit. That'll only take 2 to 3 years if I understand those economics, based on the research I've done. So we'll find out. They need a new plant, absolutely. They'd probably need 15 new plants within the next 20 years. So yeah, we'll see where it goes. Gary in New York. Hi, Gary, again. Count me among those minds blown with the truck event. Yep. What an amazing efficiency, performance, elegant, both semi. It makes me want my Tesla today. Yep. Makes me want mine even more. Meanwhile, the Model 3 is in production hell. That plus new vehicle commitments has made me concerns how Tesla will meet its production goals. I did not hear anything about the production of the Model 3 at Fremont or the facility in China. I don't think the China facility is going to matter to us here in the U.S. I understand that will only be for cars made over there or that are sold over there, which again, the Model 3 is a big one, and China being the biggest EV market in the world makes sense. Maybe we'll hear more of that. This totally distracted from it. You're right. But honestly, maybe this will be enough distraction for a few weeks, maybe to push us into the new year, and everyone will be kind of out of the holidays fog going, wait, where's my Model 3? By then they've solved those issues and they're flowing. So, give it a few weeks, maybe a month or two, and I don't think we'll have this concern. Although I know the anticipation is pretty biting. So, yeah, thanks for the question, Gary. Dave asks, I noticed Panasonic opening other battery factories like the one in China. Do you think this diminishes the battery advantage? I think Tesla gets their batteries from Panasonic, so no, I don't think there's a problem with that at all. Thanks, Dave. Ken asks, did Tesla give any indications of what kind of batteries were in the Roadster and whether or not the Roadster could lap the Nürburgring without overheating the batteries? Currently, none of the Model X can run for more than a lap on shorter tracks. Overheating the batteries going to harder. No idea. I don't know, but we'll find out soon. Thanks for the question. Sorry, I'm going to have to run through these pretty quick, and there's still quite a few to go through. Vic asks, I like you plan on getting the first production rear-wheel drive Model 3 and then selling it and getting a fully loaded dual. Yep. I'm considering doing the same. My question is, when you sell your rear-wheel drive Model 3, do you expect to make money, break even, or lose money when selling it? I hope to make money. Breaking even would be fine. If I make money, I have to pay taxes on the gain, so that sucks, but the new one will be more expensive, so it'll help with that. I don't know. Maybe they'll take a trade-in. Yeah, we'll see. Stay tuned. Tom asks, you said before you offered Tesla all your referrals in exchange for Elon to speak at TeslaCon. Now that you've seen so someone asked me this at the thing, I totally would. I would totally still give it up to have Elon speak at TeslaCon. So for so many reasons, but I've already been told by the communications department that that's not going to happen. So yeah, but totally would. Thanks for the question, Tom. Phil asks, would a fully loaded pickup generate more power going downhill than an empty pickup? Yeah. And so there's a thing called the E-dumper in, sorry for my poor geography, I'm American, Switzerland or Sweden, I forget which one of those, where this thing called the E-dumper, the world's largest EV, it's a huge dump truck, and I forget the specs on it. It goes up this hill. It's electric, has a 600 kilowatt hour battery pack. It goes up this hill, or this mountain, I guess, the quarry. They fill it up with rock, something like 45 tons of rock. Then it comes down, and when it comes down, it generates more electricity than it takes to go back up. So it comes down, it unloads, and then it goes back up with a net surplus energy. And then at the end of the day, they plug it back into the power grid and feed power into the grid of the local area. Mind-blowing. Mind-blowing. Imagine if that were every dump truck doing this around the world. Free energy, practically. Insane. So the answer to your question is yes. Go look up E-dumper. Such a cool story. And also Robert Llewellyn on Fully Charged did a really cool breakdown of it. I think I mentioned it once. Yeah, go look it up. Such a cool, interesting thing. Thanks for the question. Craig Anderson asks, do you suspect we will see changes and upgrades to the S and X hardware in the near future? I don't know about the hardware, unless you mean the batteries. I think the batteries are the big things because currently the Model 3 has a better battery tech than the S and the X. So I think that has to change. That's what I'm guessing. Crafty Geek asks, a big concern I heard from a commentator with experience in the freight industry about the Semi was that, at least from images, it has significantly lower ground clearance than is standard. I think that is more for aerodynamics. It seemed pretty standard when I was there, but I don't know. And yes, the Roadster was a major distraction that basically when that came out, all bets were off. Vlog, sorry, all those things. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure that they figured this out. And in fact, I think the ground clearance or the drag coefficient is better than a Bugatti Chiron. And so that's how one of the ways it gets such efficient, whatever. So I don't know. I'm sure that they wouldn't make it so it like doesn't work. That would be so stupid. And they're not that dumb. So that seems like an odd maybe that's like a left field thing. But yeah, obviously we'll find out more in the future. Cyrus asks, can you do a video on different specs between Tesla Semi and the Nikola one? Yeah, I've heard about it. I'm really weird on the whole thing. I hate that they named it Nikola. It's so weird to me. That'd be like if I came out with the cell phone company and named it Pear or something like, oh, well, it's like the Apple but different. I hate that. No, I probably won't do a video on it. I mean, maybe they'll be included in a video when I talk about the Tesla Semi, but that's nonsense to me. Hey, but I mean, more power to them. I hope this works. I hope they're successful. I started to watch the unveiling of it recently, and I was just anyways, yeah, bad taste in my mouth. Grant asks, was there an obvious way for the semi-truck driver to reach toll booths and entry barriers and the like? That's an interesting thing. I didn't really notice one. Maybe they'll have like one of those fast passes. I don't know how or maybe they just kind of step out for a second. Yeah, interesting question. I don't know. Crafty Geek asks again, the stats under the max load in the event missed one critical piece of info. What's the mass of the semi-drive unit non-cargo portion itself? Right. Yeah, no, it's a Class 8 vehicle, I believe is what they said. I'm not sure I've seen that, but go check out the tesla.com/presskit, and there's a whole breakdown there. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a Class 8, if that's what you were going for. All right, last couple questions here. AJ asked, did they mention if the Semi was going to have hands-free calling or any other features like this? Yeah, I mean, it's a Tesla. I'm sure they'll have all that stuff. I'm sure it'll be super advanced in terms of that kind of tech. That's the easy stuff, honestly. John asked, does Tesla derate the batteries for longer lifespan? I don't know what you mean by derate. But the data we have right now on battery lifespan suggests upwards of 800,000 kilometers, which I think is like 500,000 miles, which is real world data. I did a video on it a while ago. Going to do an updated one soon, so stay tuned. Think of people that are transforming older cars into electric cars. Okay, done. Arlene asks, is it the case that the Gigafactory is a pure battery, or might they putting a small line in there? No. So, okay, I've talked to people at Tesla about this. The Gigafactory makes batteries. Now, unless you have something that shows otherwise, send it to me, please, because I've looked at things that were older that were a bit conflicting, and then I've talked to people at Tesla, and as far as I know, it makes batteries. So when they say, you know, it'll make 500,000 cars per year, what they mean is it'll make batteries for 500,000 cars per year. Maybe more will come online. Maybe I'm misinformed, but that was something that I was really confused about early, and as my current understanding is that it will only make batteries. Thanks for the question, though, yeah. Yeah, hey, Crafty, Class 8 means 80,000 weight fully loaded. Yeah, I don't know, so stay tuned for the details. I don't have anything else besides what I've shared here, so thanks for the question, though. Okay, everyone, thank you for joining me yet again on an episode of Teslanomics Live. This one went a bit longer than normal. So thanks for bearing with me. I will go back and post timestamps for everything. If you're not on the email list, you want to participate in the discussion that you just saw happen, go to teslanomics.co, get on the email list, and remember, when you free the data, your mind will follow. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you back here next time.